So we've made our clouds brighter and our sand pile darker, but I still think that we can work on this image even a little bit more. I think we can make those clouds in the middle ground a little bit brighter, and even the clouds at the top of the frame we can probably brighten up even a teeny bit more. So what we're going to do is we are going to add another adjustment curves layer. This is going to add some complexity to this photograph. So follow along, and if you have to watch this video several times, don't be afraid to do so. Don't get frustrated. This is some pretty complex stuff that we're doing here. So click on the little arrow icon in the lower left hand corner of the adjustment panel. Click on the curves adjustment layer icon, and now you'll notice a second curves adjustment layer has been added to this photograph. And now we are going to do just the opposite of what we did with the first one. We are going to push it upwards and make it very bright. You'll note that this has affected our sand pile and our sky, which is not something I really want to have happen. I really only want to apply this layer in my clouds here. So what we're going to do is we are going to apply a technique called inverting the layer. A simple way to do that is going under the menu to adjustments and all the way down to invert. If you note, you can shortcut it by hitting the Command and the I key on your keyboard. When we invert that layer, we see that it reverts to what the image looked like before we added that layer. So what we're going to do is we are actually going to paint this layer back on in only very specific areas of this photograph. Now you'll note when we inverted that layer, this little thumbnail turned black rather than white. So in our color picker here, we're going to make sure that white is in the foreground. That will allow us to paint just small portions of this layer onto our photograph. So in the sky here, I'm going to paint this on into the clouds, something like this. And you'll find that you don't always get it perfect, and if you do make a mistake with something, you can always go back and switch your foreground color to black, and that will let you paint that part that you applied off. So you can kind of see here, my technique was a little bit on the rough side. So once I've done that, the other thing we can do here is we can kind of make this layer blend in just a little bit better by going up to the opacity slider at the top of the layers palette and sliding it back a little bit. So I'm going to put it at about 70%. So again, we'll click that eyeball off and it shows us what it looked like before the adjustment, and then click it back on after the adjustment. So now we've really got some bright clouds contrasted against a really, really dark landscape in the foreground.